In the headlines, abductors threaten to marry one of the kidnapped students of College of Health Science and Technologies Afia in Zamfara if ransom is not paid. Preliminary report on Abuja-Kaduna train track reveals collaboration between bandits and dislodged Boko Haram terrorists. Governor Tambuwal condoles families of victims of boat accident in Sokoto as community asks for better services to prevent reoccurrence. U.S. President Joe Biden announces additional $800 million in U.S. military aid to Ukraine. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I'm Zainab Bada. Hello and a warm welcome. Abductors have contacted one of the mothers of the kidnapped students of College of Health Science and Technologies Afia in Zamfara and threatened to marry her if ransom is not paid. Confirming the incident, the provost of the college, Yusuf Idris, said the accident happened outside the school premises on Wednesday. 5 students have been abducted, but one of them is reported to have escaped from the abductors. The report.
According to the provost, 5 female students who stay off campus were abducted by suspected terrorists who invaded their residence in Safi town, adding that one of the students later escaped and is currently in hospital receiving medical attention. The provost said that 4 of the college students are in the hands of the suspected terrorists. He debunked reports that the college was attacked by the suspected terrorists, emphasizing that the abduction of the affected students occurred outside the college premises.
The school did not receive any attack, no attempt. Even this one is a personally rented house in the town. God so kind that we made some release of a paper demarcating certain areas, highlighting certain areas that students should not stay, should not live. Even if they live there, they should vacate. And these are outskirts of the town in which this house is among.
The student who escaped the abduction and others who reside in the area where the abduction took place told Trust TV their accounts of the incident.
Last night around 2 o'clock in the night, we were sleeping, then we had some people hitting our door. Then after we had them hitting our door, they now opened the door and entered because the house have 2 doors. They entered the first gate and now started hitting the door that will lead them inside the house. When they enter inside the house, they now started hitting our rooms and asked us to come and open the door for them.
The police in Zamfara State also confirmed the Wednesday abduction. Police Public Relations Officer Muhammad Shehu said the police is on the trail of the abductors and pledged to rescue the victims unhurt. Safi local government area of Zamfara State has been witnessing a series of attacks by suspected terrorists in recent times. This led to the closure of National Youth Service Corps orientation camp in Safi town. This abduction of the 4 female students of the College of Science and Technology, Safi, is coming in less than 2 weeks when the son of the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs was killed by the terrorists in the headquarters of Safi Local Council.
The federal government says, contrary to impressions, it is engaging with abductors of victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack. Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, however, says the plans of government to address the situation were not to be a subject of a press conference. The minister spoke on Wednesday at State House Abuja after the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council. Kendi Modu has the details.
Devastating attack on the 28th of March on a Kaduna-bound train in Katari, Kaduna State continues to draw public attention. But then it was followed up by attacks in Plateau and Benue states in the last 2 days. It has drawn a lot of flack for government, and especially the president, who is being asked to resign. Ministers of Information Lai Mohammed and Defense Bashir Magashi are trying to reassure the public that the security agencies are working to ensure that these attacks do not happen again.
Honestly, I think the security chiefs are working hard to unveil those who are involved, and we'll tell you very soon the people that are carrying out these activities. All Jos and Kaduna will come to inform the public what is really going on and our efforts to ensure that all these activities are stopped.
Why has there been a surge in terrorist attacks in the last month?
There is a kind of unholy handshake between bandits and Boko Haram insurgents. And preliminary reports of what transpired at the Kaduna train attack shows that there's been a kind of collaboration between the bandits and the dislodged Boko Haram fighters from the northeast.
And of course, Nigerians would like to know what is being done to rescue victims of the train attack who are still in captivity.
What I can assure you is that the respective arms of government are actually engaged as we speak in getting those victims released.
Government is still relying on citizens to exercise patience and keep faith in it. But Nigerians have fast run out of patience, and keeping faith may be an even harder thing to do. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Elsewhere, Governor Aminu Tambol has visited Gidam Maigana community in Dendimai district to condole with the people over the death of their loved ones in a boat accident. He appealed to the people to accept the incident as the will of God and prayed for the repose of the souls of the deceased. The people urged the state government to help them with better boats as well as enact laws and regulations to ensure safety measures were adhered to in a bid to forestall a recurrence of the incident going forward. The boat capsized while conveying 35 passengers over a dam in search of firewood for commercial purposes. 29 persons comprising 6 boys and 23 women died in the process. 6 other passengers are reported to have survived the incident after a search and rescue operation by local divers supported by authorities in the local government. Now, as the killings in the country continue unabated, federal lawmakers in the lower chamber say Nigeria is gradually becoming a failed state. They are calling for the resignation of the National Security Advisor due to failure of the nation's security architecture. The call is coming on the heels of a double attack in Plateau and Benue State where many were killed, scores injured and many homes destroyed within 2 days. The report.
Insecurity and terrorism have been major challenges confronting the Nigerian government in the last few years as the country has witnessed a series of attacks from bandits, terrorists, and unknown gunmen. However, the recent killings in a village in Wase, Plateau, and that of Goma local government and Tier 2 community in Taka in Benue have elicited grave reactions from federal lawmakers in the Green Chamber following motions brought by Honorable Yusuf Gagdi from Plateau and Bem Nzondu from Benue State.
Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis, Mr. Speaker. The 4 angles of Nigeria, nowhere is safe. Mr. Speaker, what is beating my imagination more, aside of the killing, is who is responsible. Why must we be chased out of our lands? Benue people are known to farm. As we speak, my people cannot go to farm. Hunger crisis is on the way. What again do we need to do? My governor has always been crying. The legislators from Benue have always been crying. Our senators are crying. Everybody in Benue is crying. Even when we raise the motion, it's sufficient for the institution to act. But the other one, among the people that were arrested at the local committee who are their own informants and collaborators, one was communicating with them for the detention camp, communicating to the committee. And I saw the people that were going to go out. And at the end of the day, he got out. When he got out, his wife was arrested with drugs.
The federal lawmakers say attacks like these ones are synonymous with those that take place in a failed state and called for the resignation of the National Security Advisor for his failure to nip the killings in the bud. They also called out members of the various House security ad hoc committees for failing to submit reports that are consistent with the prevailing security situations in the country to the House.
So where you might tell somebody who cannot be able to see outside the box, or who believes in one particular tradition, I don't think we are going to get it correct. My solution is very simple. If the president means well to this country, and if we are really trying to look for solution, he has to immediately sack the national security advisor. We should put all our hands on deck to ensure that Nigeria moves forward and that security is installed once again.
They called on the federal government to act decisively to save the country, as Nigerians are daily living in fear of possible attacks.
Over 1.8 million printed permanent voter cards are now ready for collection by eligible Nigerians as the Independent National Electoral Commission commences the fourth quarter of the continuous voter registration exercise. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who dropped the figures while unveiling the printed cards at the INEC headquarters, Abuja, also restated the need for political parties to adhere strictly to electoral timelines. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman was there.
The INEC chairman is given a breakdown of the statistics in terms of the continuous voter registration exercise embarked upon by the Commission. He is also outlining the efforts the Commission has made to clean up the nation's voter database. According to Professor Yakubu, over 78% of those captured during the exercise are young persons.
Nearly 45% of the completed registrations nationwide are invalid, rising to as high as 60% or more in some states. This infraction happened in all states of the Federation. No state is immune from it. These invalid registrations will not be included in the register of voters.
He says the Commission's effort to arrive at a clean voter database is consistently threatened by the antics of multiple registrants. The shocking information is that these persons access the register through fraudulent means, suspected to be aided by a compromised staff of the Commission.
Sadly, it seems that many registrants, either out of ignorance that they do not need to register if they have done so before, or a belief that our systems will not detect this infraction, have gone out to register again. This is despite repeated warnings by the Commission against this illegal action.
Professor Yakubu is assuring Nigerians of a robust and transparent electoral process in addition to enhanced deployment of technology. The INEC chairman is, however, tasking political parties in the country to adhere strictly to electoral timelines and processes in line with the new Electoral Act so that they will not engage in an exercise in futility. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The national leader of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, says Nigeria needs a courageous leader to urgently meet the desire of citizens for drastic solutions to the challenges facing the country. Tinubu also described himself as the most qualified for the position of president in 2023, adding that his aspiration is for a nation that would not be an index of poverty. The presidential aspirant said this at a one-day parley held for serving speakers and former speakers and deputies held in Lagos with the theme, The Legislature, Changing Times and Nigeria's Democratic Journey. Tinubu further described himself as brilliant, courageous and sound enough to know the solutions to Nigeria's problems. Noting his can-do attitude, he recalled how he changed the fortunes of Lagos when he became governor of the state at a challenging time.
The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I agree. I brought IPP 300 megawatts. If they are followed my recommendations, then Nigeria will not be so epileptic in the way we are. You cannot galvanize industry and develop the ability to do and change the 21st century to 22 in your lifetime unless you pay attention to electricity. How many cobblers can you create to do the shoes?
raise animals. We have to account source of protein and everything. But we eat them all, including mama.
Very interesting.
That will not bring revenue. It just brings constipation. And best mission.
10 governorship aspirants of party from the riverine extraction in Port Harcourt have agreed to support any of them who would emerge as the party's governorship candidate in the 2023 elections. This, according to them, is to ensure victory for the All Progressive Congress in the 2023 gubernatorial election in the state. The report.
Presenting a communique on behalf of the 10 aspirants, Telofari George said they all agreed to queue behind whoever emerges victorious at the party's primary later in the year. The progressive aspirants, who agreed that all aspirants should go about their consultations in a manner that is devoid of rancor and acrimony, also agreed to caution their supporters and aides against attacking aspirants from opposing camps.
The progressive aspirants called on the party leadership to ensure a level playing field for all aspirants during the primaries to give everyone a sense of belonging, fairness, and equity. The progressive aspirants also agreed to work in unity and support whoever emerges at the party primaries, either by way of consensus or election, as exemplified by the party leadership at the just concluded National Convention.
The forum called on all genuine members of the APC in Rivers State to seek reconciliation, forgiveness, and work with the leadership of the party in the state to ensure the party wins the governorship seats and other legislative offices, both at the state and national level, come 2023.
A shared vision for the future of Rivers State has been compromised and has also been sacrificed on the altar of partisanship, self-interest, and political expediency. What we have come to do here this morning is simply to make a bold statement that it's morning again in Rivers State.
I and all my co-aspirants endorsed this document for the unity of APC, for the progress of the state, Rivers State, and for the development of our great nation, Nigeria.
Our position is very clear. We're united in a common goal. Success at the election, no matter which one of us here is chosen. The rest of us have signed and have also spoken to the fact that we are all aligned to support whoever emerges.
The spirit and letter is to put the interest of Rivers State and our party first above our own personal considerations.
I want to clearly state that I endorse this document.
The communique was signed by all the 10 candidates who have so far indicated their interest to replace Governor Wike at the Brick House come 2023.
In other news, angry passengers on Wednesday attacked the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport office of Max Air, destroying items. The attack, was learnt, was due to flight delays from Abuja to other parts of the country. Reports say some passengers that were scheduled to travel as early as 9 a.m. were still at the airport till 6 p.m. with no word from operators of the airline. The report.
This is the plight of passengers at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja.
I need bastard that don't say anything. I look at me. You should not qualify. I quit. It's not what you should fly. How can you keep us here? 1:30, 2:30, 4:30, 6:30? You keep quiet.
Max Air check-in counter is destroyed as angry passengers complain of staying several hours in the airport. For many passengers, this is unprofessional for an airline operator.
I need you bastard that don't say anything?
As at the time of this report, none of the MAX Air operatives was on ground to answer the plight of these passengers.
Oh, there you go. You're watching Trust TV News Update coming up. How Kano State government struggle to enforce ban on street begging. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update, our top stories. Abductors threatened to marry one of the kidnapped students of College of Health Science and Technologies IFE in Zamfara if ransom is not paid. Preliminary report on Abuja-Kaduna train attack reveals collaboration between bandits and dislodged Boko Haram terrorists. Still ahead, Edo State government says it will build more facilities for Lassa fever testing as part of efforts to contain the epidemic in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Obehi Okoria, disclosed this while briefing journalists after the weekly Edo State Executive Council meeting chaired by Governor Godwin Obaseki at the Government House in Benin City. Okoria said the government is working with the National Center for Disease Control to create additional testing facilities in Edo North, specifically at the Edo State University, Ozairwe. He said within the next couple of weeks, 2 more facilities will be added to the already existing one at the Irwa Specialist Teaching Hospital. Elsewhere, despite the recent ban on street begging by the Kano State government, authorities are still finding it tough to effect total compliance. In this special feature, Trust TV's Idris Jabil reports that thousands of beggars are still roaming the streets of Kano metropolis.
Across many parts of Kano metropolis are women, children, elderly, and the physically challenged. Their aim is to either beg for food or money to buy some. Begging, otherwise known as bara or maula, is a common practice to appeal for help from people and households around neighborhoods, on the streets, popular junctions, and motor parks.
Some of these street beggars have no options, since they do not have even what to eat. They don't have choice rather than to beg on the street so that at least they can get food to eat. But others, there is nothing more than greed. It's just greediness that is pushing them.
In Kano, like many other parts of the country, the initial focus is not to raise money, but to gain enough food or resources needed for immediate sustenance. Today, street begging has become a professional business, and stopping it is increasingly becoming difficult.
On several occasions, I have arrested pregnant women. I have arrested some with even HIV/AIDS. Therefore, with this kind of situation, government had to make a stand. We had to make a policy by which all this almajiri on the street will be evacuated.
Although Kano State government has recently banned street begging, but the number of street beggars, most of whom are women and children, seems to be increasing despite measures said to have been put in place.
Kano State government has made adequate arrangement for long concerning this street beggars, especially the physically challenged. We have made arrangement, those of them who have a certificate and were fortunate enough to go to school, they should take their certificate to their local government chairman and job will be provided for them. Kano State government had made this announcement repeatedly and it still stands, and we are working on it, and anybody who provides such document will be provided with a job.
Unless government policies are properly implemented, poverty is reduced to the barest minimum, as well as high rate of rural to urban migration is controlled, street begging may be far from over. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kanu.
U.S. President Joe Biden says his administration will provide an additional $800 million in military assistance to Ukraine to help bolster its defenses against an expected Russian offensive. In a statement on Wednesday, he said the package will include artillery systems, artillery rounds, armored personnel carriers, and helicopters, which are tailored to the wider assault they expect Russia to launch in eastern Ukraine. The announcement comes as Zelensky has been pleading with U.S. and European leaders to provide heavier arms and equipment to respond to Russia's assault, which has killed thousands and displaced millions. And that's it on a news update. I'm Zainab Bala. Thank you so much for watching.